Hello, students. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful week. I hope that you guys stayed warm last week and you had some fun in the snow. This week we are talking about like the history of medieval Europe. We started the week before we were out for snow. We completed a geography of Europe assignment, and so this week your assignment is completing the notes on medieval Europe. So I'm making this video today just to go over a few little things with you. So, on your slides, you can see where you're supposed to, these are your vocabulary words, your beeping terms. B stands for book definition. E is for explain or example, and then P is for picture. And right here you have the chart right here on your notes. All right, the geopolitics of Europe. It explains in bullets about how Rome fell and that Europe had depended on Rome for so many different things like religion and infrastructure and government. And whenever Rome fell, it created something called a power vacuum. That means that there's like a hole where the government used to be. With no strong central government, there tends to be a lot of chaos in places because you don't have like a uniform set of laws or standards to live by and no one to enforce those. So it can be kind of scary sometimes. So there was this group of people that never would follow the Roman rule, be like the Romans or follow their ways. And the Romans called them barbarians. So these barbarians, after Rome falls, the barbarians take over. And that is who was, and they began to rule what used to be the Roman Empire. And that is kind of like what answer that I'm looking for number one here. The next is Muslims in Spain. Here we have some more information about how the Muslims spread into Spain. There was an Islamic caliphate, and if you defined caliphate in your vocabulary, in your beeping terms, then you would know that a caliphate is an area that is ruled by a chief Muslim ruler. It is ruled by, Islam spread from this side of the Mediterranean Sea all the way over into Spain, and that's what we kind of get into in the next slide. The area of Spain ruled by Muslims was called the Al-Andalus. And so whenever the Muslims did colonize here in Spain, it created a series of conflicts between the Christians and the Muslims. And, these conflicts, they keep the Christians and the Muslims, even though that they are both stemmed from Judaism, they both come from that one religion, they still have very different thoughts and ideas and beliefs. So, and it causes a lot of conflict, which leads to the Crusades, and we're getting to that. So you will read this TCI text. This will give you the answers to the rest of this. Now, on number 3, it says the map shown on slide 4. But if you go to slide 4, you'll notice that there is not really there's not a map on slide 4. So I'm going to delete that. But you should be, right here in the TCI text, it talks about slowly the lands of the Muslim Empire took on the elements of the Arab culture. So that is the answer there, is the Arab culture. And then what language did the Umayyads speak? That would be Arabic. And then the capital, it's in that bottom paragraph on the TCI text. All right. And after that, you're going to go to the Franks. That's what we are covering today in class. We're talking about the Franks and Charlemagne. So here's just some just basic facts about the Franks. You are going to use this information to fill out numbers 6 through 13. Well, you're not going to use just the Franks, but like right here it talks about the Franks. Here is a TCI excerpt on the Franks. Isn't it really cool? Like, if you ever wonder how France got its name, that's what France is named after, the Franks. They were a group of people. This really explains a lot about the Franks and will help you answer those questions on your notes. Here's a map of Europe in 840. You can see that over here in Spain, you still have Muslim control, but then you have the Franks who are in control of this large area of Europe. So it's going to be like France and Germany. Okay. Now, this is another excerpt about Charlemagne. It's important that you read this. This is going to help you answer questions about Charlemagne right here under the Franks. What happens to the Franks? They eventually fall apart, but they fall to, at first it was the Muslims and then the Magyars, and then it was ultimately the Vikings, and we'll get to the Vikings in just a bit. And here's about the Holy Roman Empire. The Frankish Empire of Charlemagne collapsed, and the area was led by nobles. But and there was a really strong noble called Otto the First. He fought back invaders and was able to hold on to the land that is now Germany and Italy. As a reward, or he was rewarded by the Pope, he was declared the new emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. And here is a map of the Holy Roman Empire. Right here. Looks a little bit different than the last map. Okay, was Charlemagne a successful ruler? So the important thing about social studies is we use a lot of inquiry, okay? I could sit and tell you that I think Charlemagne was a good ruler, and or I could say that Charlemagne was a bad ruler, but that's not me effectively doing my job. What I want you guys to be able to do is examine primary sources and be able to form your own opinion, okay? I don't think social studies should be about me telling you how you should feel about something. I think that you should look at the facts, the factual information, the primary source, things that happen, like accounts of people who lived during that time, and you should decide for yourself if you think that he was a good ruler or not. So here are a few primary sources. You're going to read through these. I think there are 3 slides. And then there are a couple of questions to answer right here. Was Charlemagne a successful ruler? I'm looking for what characteristics and actions make Charlemagne's rule successful. What are 2 specific actions that Charlemagne took to strengthen Christianity? And then also there are some more excerpts from the primary sources down here. And I'm trying to capitalize that. And you're going to explain your answer. So right here, this is like a quote. This is a quote from one of the primary sources, and it's asking you, after reading the 2 sentences above, which one is an opinion, and why do you think that? It's important that we understand the difference in fact and opinion. Not my opinion. Sorry. All right, and then on 17, the section of the primary source titled "Generosity." Is it relevant or irrelevant to discover what made Charlemagne's rule so effective? And you should explain your answer. All right. The next thing is the Angles and the Saxons. And Charlemagne will come up, later on as we continue to dive into the history of Europe. So it's important that we remember Charlemagne, and we're like, oh yeah, we know that he was a leader, and or that he was a ruler, and and kind of how and why. So make sure that you remember those things. This is where you're going to answer these questions about the Angles and the Saxons. Right here, who were they? They were a group that ends up settling in in modern Great Britain. It talks about the Norman invasion. And then next are the Vikings. And a lot of people have heard of the Vikings, and from things like from video games or TV shows, and just or read like literature they've read in the past. So the Vikings were a group of warriors from modern Scandinavia. They conquered land from the sea, where their brutality and fighting. That's kind of where they got their they're known for being very brutal and being very good warriors and fighters. They spread their influence throughout all of Europe using their sea power. They were a seafaring group. So it's important to know, like, they were much different than the Mongols. The Mongols, they rode their horses across Asia and Europe and conquered lands. The Vikings are different. They came from the sea. Here's some evidence that the Vikings came to America first. I think that that's pretty cool to look at. I think that the Vikings are a very interesting group. Here is a map of different invasions with the Vikings, the Magyars, and the Saracen invasions. I think this is pretty interesting. The Vikings are in yellow here. And then the last thing that you're going to do is watch a John Green video about the Vikings. I like John Green. I think he does a really good job of using visuals and explaining things. So I hope that you guys enjoy that. Now, what I want to explain to you is that it's very important that you do these notes. We have a quiz on Friday, and so this is your assignment all for the whole week. Besides Moby Max and Too Good for Drugs, we have a quiz Friday. It's going to be a longer quiz, but you can use all of your notes. I'm not going to allow retakes on this because you can literally look up every answer in your notes or in any other instructional resources I have given you. You may not be able to Google these answers, and that's not my goal. I don't want you to be able to put or copy and paste the test question or the quiz questions into Google and try and find the answer that way. That's not what I really want you to do with that. I want you to, read through this information, fill out these notes, and then you'll be able to just pull up these notes whenever you're ready to take your quiz, and you should be good. You should have all your stuff together to make it like an A. So that is that. We have the quiz Friday, and I plan on to start scheduling one-on-one meets with you guys. And so be on the lookout for that. I should send it in an email. And if you have any questions or concerns with anything, just let me know. Send me an email. I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. See ya.